Hello, this is a video about kindness and what everyone misses about kindness. It is important. If you state kindness though, they're attaching everyone to fake words into databases, fake sequence relationships, fake ties to complete strangers, fake ties to natures of ties to people, inter campuses of each age and nature simultaneously. It's not complicated. Simultaneously, it's inter-private database relationships since before computers. Simultaneously, is inter-overt criminal enterprises. And now this is hundreds of nations at once. The only counters to the sick, every victim, every nation a victim. Every nation is being tortured at this moment, is being forced, time consumed, soul consumed, other than from what nature's science is about. Nature's connected nature of revelations. The causes of this, not by accident, each modern nation, each position of the human fact sheet with nature is methodically, effectively, unchallenged, undiscerned, maintained, blaming other things, others themselves, relying on that only having been of memory, that self-valued that way since semi-ancient times. What is evidence is how we had those databases, relationships, criminally foreign influenced. There are no opinions, and we had criminally legalized roles with entrenchments that were criminally legalized that our founders overcame. But the criminal entrenchments with that and the whole thing was still set up. They didn't have free speech, our founders, many ways. Things are not, this is why it is so important to understand how we are three natures of volume that are bonded. That is also with the value of sequence true before this as a nature of volume. Only the extent of it is debatable, its relevancy to our quality of fact sheet nature here, to the identity that is attached to all questions as the answer / S. This is the identity that inventions work or not in relationship to. The inventions are further positive or not in relationship to it. We're not supposed to agree on the name of it. And simultaneously we need to. We are supposed to, but say, how could it be one of the others? People have that thought because they were never taught logic, but through criminally foreign influence, criminally legalized, and delusions wrought. Victims to this method that came since before modern religions. Now, see, so they have the branches of government have been lying about simultaneous nature, and identity is nature as value, and it is value as nature simultaneously. And it is that as the value of what is being made by that which is our quality of diffusion, why we are here, what engineered us as individual. Any one of the species is an individual, complete identity of volume, because one identity will only and can only stay that. That's why simultaneously we have to be a grouped. States, areas, ages, sexes. This is what sexes is about. And species body of value. Simultaneously a bond and simultaneously an open in relationship to other bond onto metaphysics. So the order of metaphysics, the order of metaphysics is with the order of identity as a third nature of volume, as a third order of volume. And everything is in relationship to the first volume. This is my volume theory, other than what they have volumes theory now as, which incorporates the Big Bang. This is really what most probably per science and demonstrably per science where what generated humanity as a species. No. So we see the trees, they have cells, cell nucleus, cell body, cell wall. So now how there are three identities of volume They share one identity. And each one of those cells, each one of the cells of the body of a tree, of the body of a plant, of the body of animals, we should have these cells online too. So we like, these are time and positions that were already self-valued by victims. Intercampuses of each age of no database relationships all at the same time private. Interbranch. Intercampuses of each age in nature. Fire campuses, EMS, hospital campuses. Same time, involved with this method. See, now simultaneously, they're kept needing to hide roles with databases with a breaching method, worse than an organized crime, but a simple organized crime method, worse than war crimes, but a simple organized crime method. It's only extensive. And what claims other needs to self-value, not by accident, precedents, criminally foreign influenced, and statutes, criminally foreign influenced, is self-valued that way. Statutes remotely against our own here, there, everyone there against there, because no one knows how. No, everyone was invested to and as fact treatment nature styles force manifest in relationship to the identity of volume course by nature with no criminal foreign influence, especially criminally legalized criminal foreign influences and delusions, self-valued again. So American history, other nations' histories, they don't know how to tell their history. So they tell the pretend kids that, that wisdom and Spartanness is about knowing how people get over on, and is describing things by describing them through other people. And those are the same people that force this as the nature of communications. See, this is again about how they attach people to fake words, fake conversations when they're kids. And now, see, that's relevant now because they have people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with interbranch families on and off those locations, involved also again with this on and off campus of each age and nature through time, and further on and off the campuses in Wethersfield and intercities, connected. Since when I was at this school that they were involved with the police chief, his family, his extended family member, and with the house next to me that came in when I was in 4th grade, moved into the house reportedly of the girlfriend of a police chief years ago. So now the new police chief, his daughter, his foreign domestic extended family member, involved with his extended family members, and as one's involved with family members of co-defendants of former director of the FBI, and ones that are just associated with them with the rest of the predicate acts on my street with overt criminal enterprises. Its ties with the recorded with the witness protection program stewards, also involved with the crimes of the kids, wire crimes, mail crimes. They've been attaching themselves, me and others, to fake. They've been lying about what is actually recorded in the police station, putting people to fake locations, fake communications with officers that never were at all in the police station, like 2 Mendez police in Wethersfield, the 2 Mendez police, Domain family, whole bunch of people tied to them. On off Fox Connecticut News, in the buildings next to them, involved with predicate acts, worse than war crime uses of the CIA, of the FBI, of identity. See, this is an organized crime method that is using the first volume, which is an identity, making more identities a volume. See, this is why we need freedom of religion too, but they have the religions, they have this method with, it's all identity ground locations and on off them. They keep the sense, what they call Jane Austen uses the phrase sense and sensibilities. I mean, there are other proofs that this phrase was involved with their treatments of litigation and of everyone's needs to react to criminal insidious nature into predicate acts that are recorded only capable of being when they had the laws they had since semi-ancient times and why and how they had them actually. What is actually recorded is not left free speech. And because each position of each identity of job, time, location, treatment, opinion, nature, dishonest, pertaining others. So if they're preventing people from being kind until you do it. If you, in other words, you have to be. Everyone's kind originally, but when they speak about things like kindness, because this is involved with Interbranch Connecticut with uses of lies, lying about because they already lied about. They put fake transcripts about what is actually recorded online. Then they used the Facebook for that. In Congress, you used remotely. A whole bunch of other nations are involved with this. But see, this requires a quality of human fact treatment, of positive treatments, of identity treatments that they can't defend. That they're actually recorded natures themselves and treatments of time. This forever nature's course. I'll drop the fours. Fake sides. Who trial tribes. So every word / value that we have the branches of government individually grouped and together, crime methods, crime motivations actually recorded but left out. They're preventing free speech from anyone who's not going to use, not going to self-value identity thefts, frauds, and worse than racketeering with identity, with sequence nature. Sequence nature, true. Order of the finite, true. We have active true. Now they're also involved with child abuse method of calling people liars, boys and girls of the youngest ages. Intercampuses connected. The people involved with Connecticut State Judicial Branch offices, on off of it, on off the state prison offices. They're involved with a whole bunch of foreign and domestic medical families with psychology, with drug crimes, with various natures of courts. In fact, all the natures of courts. And off they had to hide life progressions as adults because I had roles when I was in each grammar school I went actually recorded. My town's police chief 1 year ago, he's been there for years, and 1 year ago, and retired and standing like a Dillon family. A whole bunch of other people tied to them. And I don't know which one, the police forms, whatever, but they're all recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved, interbranch and overt criminal enterprises as ones that were those illusions and wrongdoing roles and sequence shifts and identity thefts, frauds, and worse are recorded and involved. Fake conversation, even doctors. They lied to Wethersfield parents with more recorded child offenders with a principle of child offender. They hid the confessions of one. And that's the one involved with the house I'm talking about. With their extended family members also recorded with other natures of organized crime acts roles, with interbranch families and with foreign families, and with overt criminal enterprises, and all tied to my street. No, these are predicate acts like mail crime, wire crimes, identity theft, fraud, tied to that, falsified police reports roles, child abuse roles, on off campuses with sex offenders, more recorded, evolved with New Britain Superior Court. Their roles with a whole bunch of people with, again, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, former standing chairperson on Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, which transferred, which was in transition from the Organized Crime Control Act. Now, they were also involved then and now with actually recorded forensics locations, involved with intercampuses, all those other prison locations, involved with forensics, in other words, crimes with killers and with body dumping spots, legal and criminal. Same ones, involved with identity theft, frauds. Now, so they've been using the quote, right to lie, unquote, criminally. Real or made up, the real about Comey. He's an actor or what? But he's already, there's a guy who looks just like him too, associated with one of the people, dozens of people in the Britain Superior Court, which is 2 towns over, involved through time with this intercampuses connected predicate acts, uses of databases, and of mail crimes, wire crimes, of drug crimes, the roles with untimely death still that are drug crimes on and off campuses, like on and off Trinity College, with a whole but dozens of people involved with this, with my town's police chief and this Dillon family, with my new and past neighbors too, with the house I was talking about. Well, and these are people on and off the town offices, with other agencies also involved with predicate acts and with wrongdoing, sequence shifts, with interbranch forging names and switching names, no, making confessions, using that time to attach me and others to fake words, fake locations, fake ties to others, hiding how they make confessions about falsified police report rolls, with identities of officers switching as ones from different departments that weren't even there, pretended they were the arresting officer of me, a detective Samuda recorded, confessed, and also demonstrated also with West Hartford police and medical racketeering involved with kids and with his own family and with judges. He's involved with predicate acts with child sex offenders. This is a black man also involved. I never had a conversation with him. He was an arresting officer. I mean, he pretended other by acting into a female, what they call themselves, the law. They call people black and white. And see, now these are female black and white judges involved with this. These are KKK themed military police and other military families, intermilitary types of it, on and off Connecticut, central Connecticut, also with other campuses, deans and their family members, and their family members' doctors involved with them with the racketeering with this method where they have to hide it from presidents. They have to keep presidents in collusion with them, self-valuing experts on everything, on these hundreds of nations and all these things. They can't defend that. And what they are here peacefully together since before anyone was born, since before our founders were born. This pathology of infrastructure, of means to it, and of means to afford it. Anyone individually grouped in together can't do anything but fathom and nothing other but this identity, the relationship to the ground, that where nature itself demonstrates negative value nature progressions, acts and natures. So, everyone, not by accident, everyone blames that on other things other than themselves. So when I use other people's names, it's because they attach me to fake conversations when I was a kid, fake location. This is what's actually recorded. As the people that when we went to courts, because they wouldn't let me report what was since proven, but it's for further recorded, more than and now worse. Child offenders on and off campuses with leaders of the kids, with my town's police chief, retired and standing resource officers, their family members, whole bunch of ties to shopping centers like on and off Town Line Drive, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. There's a Mike Levine further involved, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with organized crime with people on the sex offender registry. I never had a conversation in my life. A couple of times they might have taken a picture of me. I was around him for like one moment once, and like I hardly ever saw him. These are also the people like a DeMoro family involved with my neighbors and with a whole bunch of houses on Church Street in Old Weathersfield, involved with attaching me to sequence shifts, fake locations, fake words, fake ties to themselves and their roles with wire crimes, mail crimes, drug crimes, of formal natures with doctors and with campuses policing, programs with the kids, all of them, all identity ground locations. Now there are three. There are like brothers that and like had girlfriends. They had other boyfriends at the same time. Now these were people that were being abused, but or influenced with Department of Corrections and and Department of Transportation, the Department of Motor Vehicles, those identity ground locations were and are maintained criminally foreign influenced. Now, see, this is per another method, other natures and motivations for all the wrongdoing predicate acts that originally instilled. It was cause to and uses of, which is uses of, they can't defend themselves and not force the wrong outcomes in cases. Force the uses of the identity of the ground locations to fake recorded things into databases in conjunction with the other branches of government at the same time, having been doing that and doing it. And they've been doing it intercampuses tied through time. And these are people involved with leading up to the World Trade Center attack. Criminal uses remote of the World Trade Center workers, the victims. Everyone's victims. Now we have to go where everyone's making opinions as victim predators. And they're pretending other people are victim predators, but they're preventing demonstration of it. They use a crime method individually grouped together, the branches of government, that pretend there's some kind of a cycle. Oh, this is the sequence that it goes from the police, then it goes to the courts. See, the courts are forging names and switching names in collusion with their roles with actually recorded uses of all identity grounds, locations criminally, let alone ourselves. Each age of fact treatment nature, originally and still, that's evidences. When they entertain their opinions about what Jim Crow laws are about, not by accident, they leave this out. This is about a breaching organized crime method that was consciously investing everyone to self-defenses of premises treatments, blaming other things, others themselves, for what they had to blame in layers, all standing criminal insidious natures. Styles of liars pretending other, breaching screens, breaching tools, roles preventing demonstration of how the identities of nations torturing each other, killing each other, how that is relevant to how where each location, area, and state prevents correlation natures free speech. Connecticut is confessed and recorded, demonstrated, involved with overt criminal enterprises and with all private tied to them, private databases and intercampuses, predicate acts and predicate act methods, wrongdoing methods like forging names, switching names. Various natures of courts and their family members recorded, demonstrated, confessed, confirmed how maintained through time, connected, used remotely, what then they had to hide. These are justice evidence racketeering natures, falsified police reports roles, identity theft roles, sequence shift roles, finite lies in relationship to that. Not just lies. Everyone's standing liars. These are people. This is the crime method that has my school recorded confessed. Why I never got suspended or anything. They were making up fake things with people on off. They have people that live next to the schools. They go to private schools in collusion with people that were with the interbranch kids, attaching people like me and others and all tied to them. Everyone attached to fake locations, fake sequence relationships to themselves and to others, fake words with themselves and others, fake recorded words. Interbranch family members have been using, and that punishes us. That's how they do it. Other nations reported they keep this because then they have to that when they have trade agreements they have to pretend they have integrity. That's evidence. Now I have to talk bad about the FBI. That's recorded. I have no obligations written for me to defend their integrity. They're involved with attaching people to fake recorded things, with people involved with child offenders, other natures of organized crime. Those child offenders also with their doctors before they got caught. Their doctors were also recorded and involved with predicate acts on and off child campuses with their family members, through their own kids, with their interbranch drug cliques with prosecutors and judges. I don't know if the judges, but judges are involved with organized crime acts, like predicate acts, like mail crime, wire crime, falsified police report, human trafficking, attaching little kids and their family members to fake locations. Now they exploit this through time with on off fire departments are also campuses. Weathersfield with the Weathersfield town offices. Now they have these other nations like Russia, all these nations, like poor every one of them, including us, poor America. Well, how could we not have free speech? And science uses the identity of the ground. All gather around. See what is progressive value from what they people stack. You can't. You can. What is progressive value for where they had the torture and fact treatment nature method, pathology of homes since before cars in this game with the slavery of everyone, differentially, sickly, differentially. Again, methodically, they invested everyone blaming other things other than themselves. Correctly, but incorrectly, then defense for the defenses of the of premises treatments, criminally foreign influence, of sequence treatments, criminally foreign influence, pretending other. That's the nature of volume as criminal cases used. I'm not a lawyer, not a police form, not a criminal. The bar itself, originally and still criminally foreign influenced. So New Britain Superior Court, Hartford courts, other courts are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with uses of Facebook to lie about put fake transcripts. Then they show that to Congress. But like with the people intercities, with the colleges and universities, and fire and medical families involved with predicate acts. And see, everyone doesn't even realize half the time because the police are attaching everyone. Since there's also recorded records of this, like a Chris Walters recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with having when it gave me a affidavit when I was a kid. See, but this is also how they have the lawyers, private lawyers involved, making theories with conspiracy theories and with physical delusions, with the interbranch actors who are also making things up, and then they're lying about behavior. So they're preventing people. If you're just kind and you listen to what people say, they're just going to stack more and more, and then they're going to quote your kindness, what you say with. And in other words, criminally, leaving out sequence shifts. Sequence true before us is increasingly relevant to our quality of fact treatment nature as science, not as scientific consensus and scientific method, criminally foreign influenced. All identity of the ground looks there. So that's just life. That's the way it is. Same ones pretend. We have to see the physical delusions. See, the one system works one way. We have to do the same things every time. They want us to keep having to repeat things. I asked you 50,000 times to respond because the Weathersfield police lied about what is actually recorded over wires. No one's looking at that. That was their roles with the retired and standing interbranch. Also in the Britain Superior Court, dozens of people associated with their prosecutors, with their victims advocates, also crimes preemptively and furtherance now of themselves as nature's preventing people furthering child abuses. We have to counter the women judges' roles with this, and with KKK themed, Confederate flag themed people involved with predicate acts on off campuses connected, and then self value as the people involved also with predicate acts with killers on off the spot associated with Billy Grasso, that Enzo Faenza and his cousin and a whole bunch of people tied to them. I don't know. Also, out of nowhere, sought me out to make those confessions, demonstrations, and recorded. And these are also people recorded, confessed, involved with the human trafficking of WFSB, with locations next to them. A Kerr family, a DeMoro family, people with New Britain Superior Court Facebook page, KNERR, a bunch of names. There's a Mike Pete who also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated roles with wire crimes with people with people associated with where the Arch Pizza used to be, and businesses and people associated with. He didn't you say that. He said, I don't know who that person is. That's one of the people associated with Anthony Agman, also involved with this Leahy family that faked conversations with me as doctors with various natures of courts, also that had been doing predicate acts with them with kids on my area, their roles with untimely deaths and related predicate acts on and off Trinity College, on and off CCSU, as the ones in families are further involved with fire departments, EMS, with child offenders, with criminal uses of the sense and sensibilities and identities and their defenses of identities, strangers in the CIA and FBI. Also with the Facebook, this recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed their roles. So they need to keep pretending people make theories. They're reading criminal readings of statutes, lying about what exculpatory evidence is and what inculpatory evidences mean and are, while they're making up inculpatory evidence fake to hide their life progressions, to hide their predicate acts, their wrongdoing, their actually recorded natures. See, criminal and seditious nature. So they have the phones of their schools in town. They have roles with child defender leaders that are also involved with federal crimes on off campuses with convicted federal criminals, with involved also with overt criminal enterprises, with relevant tied predicate acts, roles, wrongdoing or whatever, illusions roles on my street, relevant through relevant mail crime, wire crimes, and uses of Facebook by the interbranch Facebook pages and their roles with the stewards of the campuses. Now, say they're in the background, only capable of getting away with it because they're lying about what is recorded in databases. They're saying, well, look at his reactions to these people online. He's not calm. They have physical delusions when they're trying to interpret other people's emotions and passions, because these are people involved with with attaching me to fake locations with them, fake words with them, as people involved with all along roads, and highways, like the ones that goes by the state judicial branch offices, Route 3, Maple Street, all along that route. And then we get to that. So now there's a Mike Roberts, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. See, these are all people that were child abused by what was involved with DACA. That is involved with the intercampuses of each age and nature, while it is simultaneously involved with each database related tied steward. So sense and sensibilities, everyone speaking through others. We have this breaching method. Also, them all with the overt criminal enterprises kept needing to hide the same sequence shifts. The branch of the government kept needing to hide the same styles of liars, the same sequence shifts, finite lies, active lies, progressive lies, identity theft, frauds, racketeering lies, styles of it with the overt criminal enterprises. With not by accident, all these hundreds of nations shared policing, shared undercover positions. So they have to be with what? Drugs. So it's just manifest because of them. The drugs don't make anybody high. So they know they have to misprision, they have to pretend to be against things and for things dishonestly. Whole groups of corruption, interbranch, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously. That is recorded. They have actually recorded. They have individual grouped and together crime methods manifest as their needs to hide criminal foreign influence uses of their standing fact treatment nature. It's worse than interstates, effectively, from this town since founding drum. This is where George Washington had to come to semi-counter extort, could only semi-counter extort even with the French general's help. that which entrenched North and South had slavery, sickly distinctly here and there, not for money, for a long-term breaching method that was engineering people again, blaming other things, others themselves, for what correctly but incorrectly simultaneously. So self-defense of tactically worse than degraded, already having been revealed to zenith perfection, education systems, campuses systems of the one identity of the republic that was revealed by nations working together before criminally foreign influenced internation sciences, tactically criminally foreign influenced internation sciences, not for monetary value progression control, for human fact, treatment, nature, value progression, value/value progression, human identity of volume, value/value progression control. Now these people know that, so we have to deal with the courts. The courts, a whole bunch of natures of courts at once are recorded, involved, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with crime methods, switching names, and forging names, and uses of their own confessions and of the confessions of others, and uses of their roles, attaching people to fake recorded words, fake recorded positions, and ties conversations with people on locations that never were, like the Wethersfield Police Department, like New Britain Superior Court, like Hartford courts, involved with sequence shifts with them. These are also people involved with sequence shifts, interstates and intercities first, and since, with leading up to and in the Ninth Circuit court right next to the World Trade Center attack towers right before they got caught. Right before they got hit and taken out. So they shut down that court too. But right before that, they'd shown post-dated, insidiously post-dated from inside the court, post-dated papers that had been already time-stamped on timely handed into the court properly. But they insidiously post-dated them from inside the court. And then, so the judges, right before the World Trade Center attack towers got hit, they ruled something was filed late. Now, there are interbranch family members in our overt criminal enterprises and our federal criminals associated with that, with their family members also, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved with predicate acts on and off campuses I went to. This is where and how they're attaching everyone to fake words. They make confessions through it. They use confessions this way. This is related to the confessions that the church members make also. This is how the identity of volume, that the body of value of the species, simultaneously as value as nature, and nature as value simultaneously, distinctly, non-distinctly, simultaneously, where it's making more. And that's where humanity is value as nature also, simultaneously, distinctly, where this is in relation to how each individual is a complete identity of volume, simultaneously grouped, age, area, sexes. So this is what the thing with the engineering of our humanity. This is the engineering of our species body of volume /S. So the body is proof of how one identity of volume can be in generation of a whole bunch of other identities. So it could be plurality and singular. It can be more than one thing. In other words, this is greater than big is big, and greater than small is small, as the order to the value of the small, which is the order of the finite, which is the value of that. See, now we have value of bridge systems. Everyone speaking, oh, well, this gives value. That's all right if you allow free speech when people want to report mandated law not followed with a sequence. See, with not the sequence of, there's no sequence. It's this simultaneous nature. See, we have criminal readings of statutes that leave out things, not by accident. So they have background conversations and stuff like that with the lawyers, with the bar itself, criminally foreign influence, in collusion with that, recorded, blaming other things, others themselves for the real cause of the negative value progression acts, they just forsaken free speech, words of science, true, while others pretended offensively. So YouTuber Anthony Wall, youtube.com/user/Romulus Wall, ROMULUSWALL, youtube.com/user/Romulus Wall, ROMULUSWALL. One word, obviously, because it's a link. Because now, Little Rap Guy and friends, they're going to help us train like templates of identity ground positions forsaken, which every single one is. This was engineered, this pathology of homes, of means to them, from a tactically denatured soil base, not just overtly with concrete, asphalt, tactically denatured soils, the nature, its identity of relationship to itself. Big difference in nature and environment. See, they want uses of environment as victim predator reactions as fact sheet nature. As criminal and seditious nature uses already invested of every identity, ground, location, area, and state, let alone ourselves. Do you think these are means? If you leave everything set up, pretended it ever had integrity in relationship to the pathology of VA, the pathology of elderly homes. Oh, but that's what the building's only designed for. That's not designed by what? By criminally foreign influence pathology of infrastructure, of zoning laws, of the value between that and the ground. Too. We're in a trap. The same exact one. If you see in Russia, the YouTube or whatever, you'll see homes that look just like the ones here. Before their founding parents were born. Before modern nations' founding parents were born. Nations individually grouped it together were taken to alliance with the preservation of ancient sciences and revelations, but through criminal foreign influence, as victims, but as victim predators, not realizing nature will continue to demonstrate negative value, nature progressions, acts, and natures that the proverbial devil, an organized crime method, archetypal criminal enterprise was right there set up waiting to invest. Every modern nation, each position of the human fact treatment natures, locations, areas, and states, standing criminal and seditious nature, self-valued, positive treatments, they can't defend that in themselves, in ourselves, from what exploits that through criminal foreign influence, but it's not sourced from one, and it's fluent through each. How? That's what I'm talking about. That's why we have to have mandated law followed. Because then you're just speaking about nonsense. You're speaking about what people pretended has integrity because someone else told them who has a badge. They're recorded criminally foreign influenced, specifically for that reaction here and there. And then perpetually, where we have bodies who can speak for the law and are aware of illegal things and stuff like that in relationship to what contained the identity of negative value nature progressions, acts and nature's worst things. But where it can't too, don't forget that. That's why the bonds are getting crazy. They were crazy when, forget about it. We are one identity of volume that is forced to defend one identity of nation in ways that stays in collusion with fake positive locations of areas of state. And science is further. So they have what? The sense and sensibilities in relationship to standing styles of nature, as its abridged identity of relationship to itself, as the Constitution abridged. Our constitutional scholars cannot defend themselves and afford what is simple that American history is really about. It's about Marbury versus Madison. And that's about how the branches of government are criminally foreign influence to pretend that means for them to pretend they have integrity when they don't. And in relationship to our quality of fact-achieving nature. That's the subject. And that quality is one subject. I mean, is one identity is that one identity that is simultaneous. Doesn't leave out finite distinctions, doesn't leave out the value of sequence true, doesn't leave out active true, the value of that order. The value of the order, the progressive value is an order here now. When you see these people stacking cities throughout the world, that was built to keep perpetually every single person of each modern nation incapable to keep them as sense and sensibilities not being able to stand anyone using correlation to demonstrate how the suburbs, what they call the suburbs, all exceptions, exception nature, and demonstration of the same thing. And a landscape theater was wrought specifically to mimic, to perpetually play, to perpetually get over on, to mimic the identity of the ground. Excuse my parents, I didn't more. So the identity of the ground is identity of relationship to itself. They also have uses of and motivations for roles with child abuses. Because if they make confessions and demonstrate their roles with child abuses, even sexual and medical, and you don't say anything about that, then they, in other words, then they can just keep getting over on you other contexts, and they're not going to even address. They're not going to even. They're going to perpetually hide what's actually recorded, which is all kinds of racketeering with the databases, way worse than racketeering.